Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today we're going to be talking about the stock price and stuff, of course, and news regarding Tesla. But today we're going to be focusing a little bit more on the actual stock price itself. So if you enjoy, if you find this video useful, whatever, don't forget to subscribe and of course hit that like button. So pretty rough day. Obviously, there's no hiding that Tesla was down. I mean, the whole market, honestly, most of the market in general was down today, right? A lot of blood in the streets today. Tesla down 5.35%, ending at 1088. Now, I did say the other day that I want to see it, kind of maintain that rough 1100 area. But it wasn't like exactly 1100. That would have been nice. That's more of a psychological thing. But let's take a look at the actual chart and how it's been moving. So overall, I'm not too worried. In all honesty, I've actually been buying pretty aggressively today. On this dip, I started buying around like 1120. I think I started buying 1120, and I've been buying pretty much all the way down. Like, I would buy like a bit here, a bit here, a bit here, as it kept falling and falling. And kept buying and buying and buying. I'm not worried personally, and the reason I'm not worried is because, well, first of all, on long term, I'm obviously insanely bullish on Tesla, so I have patience for this stock. I'm not worried. Some shares I trade short term, but I wouldn't mind holding those shares longer if I need to, because again, I'm overall long term extremely ridiculously bullish on Tesla. So I'm patient, I guess, essentially, and dips on Tesla don't scare me pretty much at all. Unless it breaks some, very important trend line, then I just get scared only in the sense of like, okay, I'll wait for this to play out and then I'll re-enter. But as of right now, so, again, it's not that bad. So like I said, we have that bull flag that we, broke out of not too long ago. And like I said, as long as we maintain roughly above it, I'm not too worried. And so far, we have been doing that today, actually. So you can see this bull flag here. I mean, there's many ways you can put this line essentially, and a lot of people can argue like, oh, well, it should be like this, or it should be like this or something like that. This is the most extremely, this one is, I don't think this is the way you want to do it, because you only touch 2 of the points here. Ideally, you want to touch as many as you can without it just kind of intersecting into something that it shouldn't intersect. So in my opinion, something like this or even something like this can be accurate. If you do this bull flag, you can see it had pretty much an almost textbook bounce right off of the trend line. Essentially, the retest pretty much more or less almost filled the gap as well. Some people were saying it filled the gap. I don't see how it didn't fill the gap. The gap, if you can see here, we'll change it to 15 minutes. The gap was a bit lower, actually. You can see right here is the gap. So in my opinion, the gap truly to be filled is 1055 roughly. So until we touch 1055, I personally wouldn't consider the gap to be filled, right? So in terms of just looking at the daily chart, the RSI is pointing down. The MACD is still crossed over, which is fine. We are making a lower low, but I personally think the MACD and the MACD I don't use too often myself to really give me a good movement, maybe in the weekly or something like that, or sometimes the daily, but overall, I don't really look at the MACD too much. And then the RSI, I only really look at it in terms of, if it's something's just overbought or oversold, or if it's a bearish divergence or a bullish divergence. At the moment, not really seeing any of those indicators right now. So the RSI isn't really going to tell you that much of the whole, story or the full picture, in my opinion, personally. So the way you want to look at it is, first, you want to take a look at the daily chart. Again, like I said, broke out of this bull flag. Like I said, this was a pretty parabolic move, and I said that I would be surprised to retest it, but it's not impossible. Apparently, with the Fed coming out today being a much more hawkish, apparently we just went straight down to retest this bull flag breakouts and successfully retested it. Like I said, pretty much textbook retest based on how you want to draw this line, but this again is a pretty decent way to draw it, in my honest opinion. The other option I would say that's also quite valid is something like this as well, which is pretty accurate as well. But overall, in my opinion, I think we tested it and so far have held above it, fairly well. So I'm not too worried just yet. So that's fine. Wouldn't be surprised to see kind of some consolidation here a little bit. But again, there is a rumor that Elon Musk might announce something major regarding Giga Texas on Friday. So that could be a nice bullish momentum. And the biggest thing I think we're all waiting for is, of course, not only the report, the Q4 report, the earnings report coming out late this month / early next month. And of course, with that, Elon will be on the call talking about potentially updates to Cybertruck and even future products, and essentially just revisiting the overall roadmap. So I'm bullish for the month still overall. But again, the only thing that's going to stop Tesla is just the overall market conditions, which at the moment, I'm not going to lie, looking a little bit sus. But don't forget, guys, whenever there's blood in the streets, it's when you have to buy. You got to buy. When everyone's panicking and everyone's worried and panicking and selling and everything, and everyone's like, oh my God, we're crashing. That's usually when you want to buy. So that's what I've been doing personally, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so let's take a look at the overall chart. So in the short term, shorter frame, I guess you can say. So today what happened was we, parabolic move up, right? Ran up, got rejected at this 1200-ish area. And then we essentially broke down. And then we started forming this bearish flag. A bear flag is literally the opposite of a bull flag. Bull flag, you go up, consolidate, usually down right, sideways / down right. which is what we did again in this daily, right? Went up, consolidated downwards, and then back up. Bear flag, essentially quite the opposite. You fall down, consolidate, going upwards slightly, and then you fall back down, this is pretty much a textbook bear flag, right? Again, like I said earlier, with bull flags, 5 moves usually. So you go 1, which right here, 2 touch point, 3, 4 pretty much instantly, like not long after. And then we just broke down, hovered around this area. And then the final catalyst was the Fed pretty much coming out and just tanking the markets, right? And then we just absolutely plummeted off a cliff all the way down. I didn't think it would go this low. I mean, I thought it would go to like 1100. This one a little bit lower than I thought, but again, not too bad because we're still generally holding above this level, which makes me happy. So this really just kind of depends on how the next couple of days goes. Hopefully Friday, maybe Elon does announce something regarding Texas that gives us some bullish momentum back into the stock. But again, overall, I'm not too upset. I'm fine. I'm buying the dips. I got a couple more, a little bit more ammo left to buy a little bit more of the dip if necessary. But again, I am personally not too worried. It's not just Tesla, guys. It is, of course, the overall markets, the NASDAQ, the QQQ, which is essentially the NASDAQ was down 3%, 3.07, and Tesla was only down 5.35. Tesla usually has about a 2 delta or something like that, I believe, relative to the NASDAQ, which usually implies that if NASDAQ is down 3%, Tesla should be down 6%. Tesla was down 5.3%. So actually somewhat outperforming the NASDAQ in my opinion, which isn't too bad. But yeah, so I wouldn't worry too much, guys. Again, if you're bullish on Tesla long term, this should be a gift in my opinion. No, not financial advice, of course, but I'm buying the dip. Anyway, so that's kind of, the update on the stock and what I would think of that so far. Let's talk about some updates and news. So Troy TSLA on Twitter did mention how he has or is going to be updating his estimates further for deliveries in 2022. So far, he had it for 1.52 million, and this is, I believe, before 5th of December. This is before the most recent deliveries were announced for Q4 and essentially, of course, the full year of 2021. So this was before we saw this absolutely massive beat, but he was already before that expecting, I think, around 295-ish for Q4. So not too far ahead, but he probably will adjust it and add a bit more to it, maybe like closer to 1.55-ish is my guess. But regardless, he is going to be even more bullish, and he was probably one of the closest people to the actual deliveries for Q4 compared to almost everyone else I saw, including especially Wall Street. Following that, we have a little update here saying that Tesla is likely to offer an AMD Ryzen processor retrofit for Model 3s and Ys later this year. So if you have a Model 3 or Y, like myself actually, who does not have the newest and latest AMD Ryzen chip that the new ones are being shipped with, sometime probably second half of 2021 at the earliest is what it says. The article will be able to go ahead and retrofit it back onto the older cars and, essentially update the speed of our computer in the car and the speed and of how apps are opening, just the response rate, all that kind of stuff. It'll just be essentially like updating your computer with a better chip. It's just faster and it works smoother. Following that, we have General Motors unveiling their Silverado EV, which in all honesty, it doesn't look bad. I'm long-term and even short-term, but long-term especially, pretty bearish on GM. I personally wouldn't touch GM stock. If I had to pick one OEM to like not succeed, I guess, in this transition to the ICE or to end the ICE age and into the EV age, GM is probably my choice that I think would not succeed. So, I would be careful with GM personally, but nonetheless, it is a pretty neat, decent looking vehicle, right? The interior it's okay. I mean, it looks like they're trying to look fancy and futuristic with it, but again, don't forget these are just literally all renders, not like they have it built or anything like that. It's literally all renders. But it looks okay. I'm not gonna lie about it. It looks hype. It looks okay. The wheel looks a little boring in my opinion. I still think the wheel looks like it's very old-fashioned. They could have maybe updated the wheel to feel a little more modern. But the screen looks okay, and the interior, I like the white with the black. It looks nice, pretty clean overall. So I'm not complaining too much about it. They talk about their cruise and how they think that by 2023 a door-to-door hands-free driving experience in 95% of scenarios. I think the keyword here is scenarios. What defines a scenario? According to them, the scenario could be like that kind of little keyword that has hidden messages behind it. So take that with a grain of salt in my opinion. But that's pretty much the update there with the GM. And they also have the I forgot which one this is, the Cadillac, I believe. Render over here, which I mean, again, literally just renders. Keep that in mind, guys. And the final thing I want to talk about is, of course, another kind of post done here by Trip Chowdhury. Global equities research analyst Trip Chowdhury urges investors to buy Tesla stock weakness that yielded a 4.2% drop yesterday. This was on the 4th, I believe. The analyst added that Elon Musk is expected to be on the 4Q earnings call to provide details on the product roadmap, which again, we're hoping to hear about the 25K Tesla there. And he also described Q4 delivery numbers as gigantic. He stated that the EV giant smartly adapted to supply issues, which they did, while the competition remains clueless, which they are. So 2021 is just a trailer and the movie has not yet even started. 2022 can be even more impressive with expansions at Gigafactory China, or aka Shanghai, which they are expanding, by the way, which is exciting to see what that's going to really lead into. Could be substantially more production, could be something else entirely, maybe more battery, maybe that's where they're going to develop the 25K car, maybe a mix of everything, who knows. But that's going to be exciting. And of course, Gigafactory Berlin and Austin coming online as well, which is also extremely exciting. They're going to be essentially next generation factories, which I'm unbelievably bullish for, which is why I am not worried about this dips. Even if Tesla dips further, I'll probably buy more. Essentially, as long as we don't break under 1055, that is like where I don't want to see it fall below. If we see it fall below this 1055 area, that's when I would get a little bit worried short term, just specifically as a stock, not as the company or anything like that, just as a stock. That I don't want to see this break. If this breaks, I actually might have to take the profits that I did make from all the way here, that I'm still holding from here, and take that and just kind of observe temporarily. But yeah, until then, we'll see what happens. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we hold around this area and then break up to the upwards. Hopefully with Friday's Elon announcement, hopefully that rumor is true. That's a catalyst. But either way, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know what you're thinking about it down below. I personally wouldn't be worried just yet. I would be buying the dip. Buy it when everyone is fearful, when everyone is panicking and panic selling. That's when you should be buying. It's hard to do, but you got to learn how to do it, guys. So either way, thanks for watching. See you guys for the next one. Peace.